And Shruti, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Emily. So, welcome everyone to our Industrial IoT Customer Webinar series. I'd like to give a shout out to Emily and Henry here for organizing this webinar and putting it together, and to Levi, our panelist. Feel free to interact with him for any Q&A that you have, or unmute yourself and feel free to join the discussion. I'm Shruti from San Jose, California, and today I'll be diving into the latest and greatest updates we have to offer with our industrial IoT routing portfolio managed by Catalyst SD-WAN Manager. So with that, let's get right in. Now, I'm presuming some of you have been here with us and you're here looking for the latest updates, but in the interest of those who are joining in or listening in for the very first time, I'd like to spend a few minutes to talk about who we are as a business and what it is that we solve for these industries. So many of you may be familiar with the traditional enterprise networks managed in the information technology space, in the IT space, where we manage and connect corporate offices, workspaces, campus networks, data centers, and managing the network across these corporate workloads is within the IT space. Now, these companies have over time realized that they have a footprint to manage and connect outside of their carpeted spaces, like in parking lots, in charging stations, or in wind farms and solar farms, in the renewable energy space, in distributed automation and substations, in the utility space, in the water and energy spaces, in traffic cabinets and in the intersections and roadway space, in buses, rails, in charging stations, etc., which I spoke about. So the coverage outdoors of all the equipment in the physical world is what's known as operation technology, OT sector. And we require routers which are able to deploy in rugged, harsh environmental conditions while functioning with all the network and security stack offering that our enterprise routers bring in the IT space. And that is what we have to offer as an industrial IoT router in the OT space. Now, as we increasingly extend and connect our IT to OT networks, we'll need a single pane of glass for visibility and segmentation of our networks, for which we have our very powerful Catalyst SD-WAN Manager. It can manage both enterprise routers and industrial IoT routers. Now, presume like our routers are like one controlled core network, and each of these routers are communicating with walled off OT networks, say in utility space where it's managing control systems and automation systems like reclosures, or behind a serial interface, you may have a SCADA RTU, or there's charging stations or capacitor bank controls and so forth. It brings together connectivity across all these functioning systems and is managed via cellular uplink, no matter how remote and how widely disparate these geographical locations of these sites are. It's managed via cellular uplink to bring connectivity back via a single pane of glass, our SD-WAN manager. Likewise, we see these deployments across solar farms, wind farms, and we have now the ability to interconnect all these isolated OT networks. Another key functionality of SD-WAN Manager is that it's able to provide failover for mission critical traffic, in that sometimes our customers run fiber optic cables because they don't want to invest as much in cellular, right? They want to keep their cost minimal over time. And so if our fiber optic cable is not reachable, the ability to fail over to a primary cellular, if not to a secondary cellular. So that way our mission critical traffic meets the required SLAs in terms of latency, delay, and jitter. So this functionality is a very powerful one, managed intelligently by SD-WAN through what's known as application-aware routing. And all of the traffic is through secure tunnels. So it brings together visibility at scale, network connectivity of different sectors, segmentation, and security. What these customers in our OT sectors are telling us as their top of mind is cybersecurity, AI to modernize their industrial networks and future-proof them, and to bridge the gap between their IT and OT sectors. Now, to solve these problems, we have the complete industrial routing portfolio that I'd like to introduce here. It's a very comprehensive one at that. We have our IR 1101 and 1800 series, which support active-active cellular uplinks, 5G, LTE, GPS. It supports fiber optic ports, a few LAN ports, serial interfaces, and in fact, our 1800 high-end series also supports PoE Plus, and a Wi-Fi module. So the devices, both of them actually support SATA SSD for 100 gig, and both of them are so feature-rich, and they find their use case through transportation and roadways, oil and gas pipelines, in distributed automation space. So these are very widely deployed across these sectors. Moving on to another favorite, the 8340 series, which finds its deployment in digital substations and rail track side with its a very superior feature set of 12 LAN ports, 2 WAN ports. It has a pluggable cellular, again, like its other peers, and it supports an SD card, a SATA SSD, and it also supports like a timing module, a precision timing module, which can be used as a reference clock instead for NTP. And that will enhance the precision timing and sync across the network. Very vital feature for mission critical applications. And on the high-end series, we have our heavy-duty 8100 series, which is IP67 compliant in that we can dunk him underwater, he's still going to function. This router finds its deployment in scenarios like can be deployed in electric pole tops to communicate to all the electric meters which are deployed in households in the vicinity. And he can bring about that connectivity through a low power, low RF IPv6 mesh. It's a homegrown proprietary protocol here. And it's not just electric meters. We can extend this over to water meters and so on and so forth. So this advanced metering infrastructure across utilities is where this device finds its use case. In fact, he's deployed in such rugged, harsh conditions like at minus 40 degrees Celsius and everything. And the router self-heats through a backup battery. And that's how it keeps all its components functional. I mean, it could not get more rugged than this. So this is our family here. And with that, I'd like to move on to what latest we have to offer with this IoT routing portfolio managed by SD-WAN. Now, all our investment priorities are in line with our customers' requirements, which is bringing IT to OT, security, and operational simplicity. In terms of bridging IT to OT, I'd like to talk about some of the features that we have to offer. This is one which is 1000 eyes support across all our industrial IoT routers, will be available from December 2025 to be deployed via SD-WAN Manager. What 1000 eyes does is it provides assurance and visibility all the way from the edge device to the cloud application. What is the value add that 1000 eyes has for our business? Now today, a typical network, as we try to connect our edge device to its end applications, can be so complex, right? We walk through a hoop of wired and wireless networks, and not all of it is owned by either Cisco or by the customer themselves. There could be like DNS providers, service providers, cloud providers. Then there's this whole cloud infrastructure in itself. Their data centers are different. It could be the SaaS application provider themselves, right? And some of them can even have like a multi-cloud vendor environment. So given all these numerous components, should there be any network outage, having to isolate which is the problem area takes forever. And having to raise support cases across multiple vendors, the mean time to resolution just goes off the roof. The power that 1000 eyes brings to play is it's able to isolate to one specific area as to, hey, maybe it was my ISP, maybe it is my infrastructure. So on the data center side. So it's able to isolate the problem area and thereby drastically reduce the time it takes to resolve a problem. I'd like to explain that with an actual use case that we've experienced here. One of our State Department of Transportation deployments in traffic intersections. We have our IR 1101 deployed in roadside cabinets, uplink managed over cellular with Catalyst SD-WAN, and it has another encrypted uplink to the customer's traffic management center and their IT data center to manage all their traffic data. Now, on the southbound side, our device connects to a whole multitude of sensors. It can be traffic signals, it can be LiDAR detectors, traffic sensors, speedometers, and so forth. This is a typical traffic intersection network. And the customer reached out to us one day saying, hey, I'm seeing no traffic from the device. Device is down. So what we did is we deployed Thousand Eyes standalone on the device, and we were able to isolate that the traffic drop was somewhere along the service provider side. And it turned out that at the service provider side, to improve the signal strength in that locality, they had installed a femto tower, and there were some firewall rules set which inadvertently blocked traffic from our device. So one simple config fix on that side, and we were back on track. Now imagine without Thousand Eyes having to raise support cases across all these multiple departments, IT departments and everything, and figuring out what was wrong. This is the power that Thousand Eyes brings to play. Moving on to the next latest feature update that we have available right now on SD-WAN is our cellular monitoring at scale. We provide chart widgets where we're able to monitor based on the service provider. What is the cellular link health at the site level, at per device level? We can drill down hierarchically. And we also provide insights into the cellular data usage based on each carrier or service provider. And also at an individual device level, we provide a timeline insight into what the radio frequency health looks like in terms of the signal strength and so forth. And also a bit more details on the cellular interface itself, on its status, on its uptime, its IP address details. So from both the depth and breadth of monitoring for cellular, it's available today on Catalyst SD-WAN, and primarily given that we are a cellular first customer base in OT deployments, this comes in handy. The second care about for our customer is security. What we have to offer is the multi-layered security stack for config deployment via SD-WAN at scale across all our devices, similar to our enterprise routers. Now, one may ask, yes, enterprise networks see a lot of heavy web traffic. Why is it that I have to go above and beyond to secure my last mile deployments in OT sector? That's a great question. And as we bridge our IT and OT sectors today, we want no weak links along the network. We want proper segmentation along the way to secure our network so that, because especially in case of security issues, once there is a problem, the impact and recovery after the fact can be very long drawn. So I'd like to explain that with actually an incident, right? This happened at Colonial Pipeline. It's a Texan American company which supplies fuel to most of southeastern United States. In 2021, there was a hacker group based in Russia named DarkSide. What DarkSide did is they triggered a massive ransomware cyber attack on Colonial Pipeline's software infrastructure, be it at the IT or at the OT level, and it completely paralyzed their pipeline from functioning. So what they actually did, how they actually triggered this one is more interesting. They found one of the inactive employees' account on dark web. They used the inactive employee's password. They were able to log into the network, download 100 gig worth of data across the computer servers, across the network. It didn't matter to them, IT or OT. They downloaded all the data, and the next day they logged back in, triggered a malware file, and paralyzed the network. I mean, to me, this is like a case study in how many ways we could have secured our network, right? It was like one, multi-factor authentication, authenticate your user, software updates, make sure it's latest and greatest sessions only are active. And then ensure there's intrusion detection and prevention, ensure that there's threat protection of malware files, even from within the system through advanced malware protection. And my pet peeve actually in all of this is no single user should have access to blow up the entire network. So appropriate network segmentation through application firewall policies becomes ever so important. That's why security is a multi-layered approach. And all of this is available to be deployed via SD-WAN to our OT routers from day one, and is highly recommended approach. The impact otherwise, like in this case of Colonial Pipeline, right? Turns out that when this happened, they actually had to pay millions of dollars to this hacker to get a tool to fix the problem. They had to oversee all of this with FBI. And while that was happening, flights had to be grounded because they were running out of fuel. They had to scramble for alternative fuel suppliers, and people were hoarding fuel. It just cascaded into so many problems that got out of hand. And here we are. Yes, all those features are already supported on SD-WAN. What's the latest that we have to offer with respect to monitoring our security firewall log visualization on SD-WAN? Is the following. We provide a dashboard for better granular visibility into our firewall policies, where we are able to drill down our firewall policies based on ports, protocols, based on our site level, our device IDs, etc., and enforce and see what traffic is getting inspected, what traffic is getting dropped. So also, if you see, for any traditionalists out here, the look and feel of this firewall log visualization dashboard is very similar to FMC, our firewall management controller. So the learning curve itself becomes minimal, and that's the user experience we were going for. Another feature that we have to offer is policy version control and rollback. We have a similar feature in configuration groups today, where we can do any number of edits, and if we don't like any, roll back to the previous versions. We allow the same thing now with our policy versions as well. We have support up to 30 versions per policy. Moving on to another priority for our customer, operational simplicity. What we have to offer is forecasting WAN bandwidth needs. So based on, so what we display on our analytics dashboard, it's available today. We display the cellular bandwidth used historically, the current cellular bandwidth usage, and with this data, we're also able to predict and forecast the bandwidth usage over the upcoming weeks. So when a customer is monitoring this, they can use the forecasted bandwidth requirements, take this to their service provider and renegotiate their rate plan, and thereby add impact to their business. So it just so happens that this is an AI-powered feature, and it's available with our cloud services and Cloud Advantage license. We have for this release, it's available right now in shipping, a new expansion module with additional fiber ports available to be stacked with our IR1101 series. So many of our customers who are deployed outdoors, I'll take an example like in a wind turbine or so, right? For example, what they've given feedback is they experience high EMI, electromagnetic interference, and also sometimes their sites are quite far apart and they need connectivity, and the Ethernet cables run short at like 100 meters before we need an adapter to extend, causes attenuation. So to solve this problem, fiber cables, which can run to up to 50-60 miles before it needs any adapter, and it has good resilience to interference. So we can have, in terms of simplicity, what I like about this expansion module is we can have a pre-deployed IR1101 up and running, managed by Catalyst SD-WAN. We can just plug and play our expansion module right there on our active IR1101, extend the ports and connectivity, and we're good to go. It's managed by SD-WAN. That's as simple as it gets. No need to invest in new hardware or have to unmount the device, no such hassles. Another latest update is our configuration catalog support. So we've had feedback from customers that they would like sometimes to have very quick installation and config deployment cycles and quickly move on to what's important for their business in terms of monitoring, network insights, and so forth. So to enable this for quick deployments, like let's say, hey, just get my primary LTE, a secondary LTE, and the device connected up and running. We provide guided workflows called catalog workflows, which are pre-validated Cisco configuration profiles that we offer for the customer to deploy with a few clicks. These are proven and they're tested and less error prone as well. And once we deploy, if on the fly we decide that, hey, I want to customize some things, then yes, it's totally up to being tailored at any given point. Custom application dashboard. Now, we have some large-scale deployments in utilities, and there's one in EU that comes to mind, where they made a request that they want to run their own customized container applications on our edge IR devices to manage their workloads. Great, we support custom applications today on our devices, and this was fully deployed. Now, what we have to offer is better manageability of their custom application at scale. We allow monitoring of the status, whether it's stopped, started, or what's the status like, and to bulk start and stop their applications at scale, and also to monitor the resources consumed by their application on their devices. So this is available today on Catalyst SD-WAN as well. That brings us to the end of the latest update session of IoT routers with SD-WAN. Thank you all very much for your patience and for being with us today. We look forward to you joining us for our upcoming sessions, and I look forward to your feedback, Q&A, concerns. Reach out to us for anything, anytime. And for learning more about our products, please find the links attached. With that, I'll hand over to Emily, our organizer.
Great. Thank you so much, Shruti. If we go ahead and just advance to the next slide, you can go ahead and scan the QR code for upcoming Industrial Insider sessions that we are hosting in the coming weeks. So we hope to see you there. And with that, thank you so much for attending today's webinar. The recording will be made available, and we'll be sure to keep you informed of upcoming sessions. Thank you so much.